Item SCP-004 Object Class Euclid Special Containment Procedures. When handling items SCP-004-2 through SCP-004-13, proper procedure is vital. The items are not permitted to be moved off-site unless accompanied by 2 Level 4 security personnel. Under no circumstances should any other component of SCP-004 be taken through SCP-004-1. The effects of doing so are as yet unknown, and the current cost of experimentation makes further research impractical. Should any of the objects contained within SCP-004-1 breach containment or the facility be breached, the keys must be brought inside and the door closed prior to evacuation of Site-62's on-site warhead. Unauthorized removal of keys from the testing area is grounds for immediate termination. Level 1 clearance is required for basic access to SCP-004-1. Level 4 clearance is required for use of SCP-004-2 2-13. Descriptions: SCP-004 consists of an old wooden barn door, SCP-004-1, and a set of 12 rusted steel keys, SCP-004-2 through SCP-004-13. The door itself is an entrance to its abandoned factory and data expunged. Chronicle history: 7/2/1949. The group, date, month, year. Hey, bud. Bud? How thirsty? 7/2/1949, 7/4/1949. Okay, so July 2nd, 1949, a group of 3 juveniles trespassing federal property near Redacted find a door according to their testimony. They found a set of rusted keys in an iron lock box and determined what door the keys unlocked. Juveniles were taken into custody after they contacted Sheriff Redacted when one of their friends, SCP-004-CAS-01, goes missing. July 3rd, 1949. Local authorities find the severed right hand of SCP-004-CAS-01, 8 kilometers from SCP-004-1. Other parts of SCP-004-CAS-01's body were found scattered as far as 32 kilometers from the factory. Under interrogation, the apprehended juvenile tells authorities that upon opening the door with one of the keys, SCP-004-CAS-01 was torn into several pieces, each of which disappeared. At this point, the SCP Foundation has taken over the investigation. July 4th, 1949. SCP Agent Redacted obtains the keys from the local authorities to begin testing. Test shows that SCP-004-2 Tests show that SCP-004-2 through SCP-004-13 all fit into a single lock on the large barred door. 12 Class D personnel are assigned to test the effects of the door. Of the 12 test subjects, each trying a different key to enter the room, only 2 survive, opening the door with any key except SCP-004-7 or SCP-004-12 caused the test subjects to be torn apart in multiple directions. However, those dismemberment parts were found until later at this time of writing. Only 2 parts of each subject have been recovered, with the exception of the subject using SCP-004-redacted, whose pieces were scattered in close proximity. The others have, for all intents and purposes, vanished from existence. Of the 2 surviving subjects, only one, having used SCP-004-7, returned unharmed. The other came back in a near catatonic state, able to only remove himself from the room and then collapse on the floor, and had to be restrained to prevent himself from gouging out his eyes. See Appendix A, Mental Health Effects of SCP-004. The subject using SCP-004-7 said that he had entered a large room, possibly
For a very long time.
possibly big for the size of a attached building. After his exit, SCP-004-1 was propped open and an armed squad of Level 3 personnel entered. The size of the room is impossible to measure. The door frame and the individuals in the room are the only part of the room that can be felt or illuminated. July 6th.
Background noise.
Yeah, you are. July 16, 1949. The juvenile suspects and Sheriff Redacted are terminated. Okay. August 2nd, 1949. August 2nd, 1949. Redacted is declared a hazardous area due to a unexploded ordnance and fences erected in order to prevent civil ingress. Test to determine safety of exposure to environment behind SCP-004-1 begin. September 1st, 1950. Space-time anomalies resulting from exposure to SCP-004 are confirmed. Testing is suspended until further notice.
You can call me out from a fingernail. Very good. Wait, I'm talking about the rest of this. Some British.
July 2nd, 19 redacted. The unaccounted for remains of SCP-004-CAS-01 appear unexpectedly outside of SCP-004-1 despite being killed decades before. The remains of SCP-004-1 CAS-004 SCP-004-CAS-01 are not decomposed in any manner and are still warm to the touch. Blood remains uncoagulated. The remains are remains for testing. July 4th, 19 redacted. The accounted for remains of one of the 12 original test subjects appear in similar manner to those of SCP-004-CAS-01. The remains have been designated for SCP-004-CAS-02. Records suggest that both SCP-004-CAS-01 and CAS-02 used SCP-004-redacted. March 21st, 1999. With a massive proliferation of nuclear weapons in World War III only blank years away, construction has begun on a site inside SCP-004-1. The site is to stock supplies for redacted person days. April 21st, 1999. Redacted has ordered the site inside SCP-001 to be expanded to include emergency storage for all mobile SCP blank specimens and a blank petatype database. For the storage of all SCP data, the facility is now referred to as Site 62.
Texas.
Wait, hold on.
Go home when you're next. Yeehaw. Nukes. That's it.
Okay. September 25th, 2000. Site 62 is operational. Labs and containment units are complete and can contain the most dangerous specimens. Backup of the SCP database has begun. For January 25th, 2001. Due to time anomalies, see space-time anomalies below, all personnel working at Site 62 are now required to reside on site permanently. Families of personnel are to be informed that loved ones perished in an industrial accident. Blown bodies have been prepared for funeral. August 14th, 2003. Massive power outage across northeast United States and through Canada due to the initial failure of multiple SCP generators. Site 62 was without power for 53 minutes. During those 53 minutes, those on site were completely without any source of light. They reported sensing creatures and people, although no abnormal entities could be seen or felt. Selected facility personnel were allowed to be redacted, Appendix A, and said the creatures sensed were of humanoid size, but otherwise similar to the massive green creature described. Space-time anomalies. SCP-004 seems to propagate spectro-temporal anomalies. Personnel leaving the facility report losing time. Those who have been in the site for weeks insist that they have been in the site for only several days, and records of the completed and supply consumed support their claim. Other temporal anomalies involve SCP-004-2 through 13, especially the reappearance of SCP-004-CAS-01 and SCP-004-CAS-02 exactly redacted years after SCP-004-redacted. Redacted has been assigned to investigate all aspects of these time anomalies. Spatial anomalies include the impossibly large dimension area opened by SCP-004-7. Similarly, the 2003 blackout incident suggests that there exists an alternate plane of existence within the same space that Site-62 occupies. Additional notes. Testing on SCP-004 reveals that 10 of the keys open SCP-004-1 on a dimension where the laws of physics and topology are significantly different than those of our home dimension. Test subjects meeting these hostile conditions are torn apart, their bodies deposited in various locations, only 3 of which have been verified to be on Earth. Material deposited of these points appears immediately. Material deposited at the third appears exactly blank years into the future, and other 7 locations are currently unknown. Current testing focuses on 2 avenues of research. The first is finding ways to survive SCP-004's hostile topologies. The second, data expunge, suggests that SCP-004-2 through 13 may open doors other than SCP-004-1. Appendix A, Mental Health Effects of SCP-004-12. All Class D personnel using SCP-004-12 return in a catatonic state, unable to speak. Some may have enough energy to try to claw their eyes out. Of the 16 subjects, only 4 have survived. Only 1 has regained speech following long-term psychotherapy. He was able to tell the psychiatrist that he saw a massive green creature, so large that much of its body extended beyond his view. He reported innate fear and sudden recognition, as if something buried deep in his primal fears, and forced implantation of incomprehensible memories. Subject displays acute antegrade and retrograde amnesia. Appendix B, additional information. Item SCP-004-14. Data discovery. September 2nd, 1915. Origin of the object. The object was discovered elsewhere in factory area and in the previously undiscovered manager's office. Description. Object appears as a large, unvarnished wooden box. The box may be unlocked by the safe key SCP-004-7, as well as the 5 of the unsafe keys. See document SCP-004-1. Upon unlocking SCP-004-14 with SCP-004-7, the box open automatically unhinges. The volume of the space inside is precisely 5 times greater than the outer dimension implied. Items placed within while the lid remains open do not affect the weight or any other properties of the box when the lid is closed and locked. However, all items inside vanish irretrievably. Personnel locked inside the box are also irretrievable. Although losing personnel in this fashion appears to affect significantly the dreams experienced by data expunged.